am back with another dupe from Shop Hush. I told y'all I was Shop Hush obsessed, right? So I'm actually in the middle of doing another video for another product, and I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the palette, so I was just like, you know what, I'm going out, I need eyeshadow, so let me just go ahead and do this one in the middle of the video and then finish up the other video anyway. So how many people wanted the Masterclass by Mario palette when it came out and weren't able to get it for whatever reason? Show of hands. Okay. I really wanted that palette, but I kept going back and forth about getting it simply because the shades looked super warm, and I was just like, another warm tone palette, do I really need it? No, I don't, but I really wanted it. And then when I made up my mind to go ahead and get it, so it was last week Bad Habit debuted their Artistry palette. It is a dupe for the Masterclass by Mario palette, and as you can see, I have been playing with it. Like I said, it's a very warm tone palette, but you know what? I'm going to take one for the team today and just play with some warm tone shades. Forgive me if they're not the greatest, because like I've said before, I don't work with warm tones a lot, simply because they don't look great on me. So it might take me a little bit to get to something, and I'm just going to do something very simple. But I wanted to talk about this palette real quick. It is $12, which is a $2 price jump from their previous dupe palettes of the Anastasia Subculture and Prism palettes. Yeah, so it's a little bit of a price jump from those palettes that looked exactly the same. The larger palettes are usually $12, and then these are usually about $10. So it's a little bit of a price jump, not anything, you know, wacky or whatnot, but it is $12. You get 12 shades in here, so you're paying basically $1 per shade. It does come with a mirror as usual, and the shades are as per usual for Bad Habit. They're named in the palette. I have been playing around with these quite a bit. As you can tell, I did take them out for a spin, and so far so good. Like, I actually really enjoyed this palette quite a bit. So without further ado, I am just gonna shut my mouth and throw some eyeshadow on so you can see how they work. Okay guys, so this is the finished look. Like I said, I wasn't doing anything crazy, just, you know, throwing some colors up there. I did not use too warm colors. You know, just very neutral, middle of the road shades. Now, so this is yet another Anastasia dupe palette. I mean, Bad Habit seems to like duping Anastasia, so it makes sense. They're some of the most popular palettes on the market. Some people might say that, you know, it's unfair for them to take someone's hard work and profit off of it. But I support dupes. Number one, because You know, I'm really a socialist at heart. Like, I feel like everyone should have access to the same things, and not everyone can afford $42 for a palette. So if someone is going to make it a cheaper version of it, and do it well, I say go for it. No one owns eyeshadows, no one owns colors, so whatever. And also, no palette is worth $42. As someone that used to make their own products, I can tell you that the biggest cost of making an eyeshadow palette goes into promo, advertising, and maybe manufacturing. Maybe. But the raw materials to create a palette, it's really not that expensive. So charging $42 for a palette is kind of a scam. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Now that that's out of the way, let's talk about this palette. Like I said, I've had it for about 2 weeks. I've had it for 3 weeks. It came when I was sick, so I didn't get a chance to really use it until afterwards. Yeah, I got it after I started using it afterwards, and I've worn it, and I'll be honest, of all the Bad Habit palettes that I own, this one is probably my least favorite in terms of performance and longevity. Also, you know, the colors, I don't really care for the colors too much, but I saw it and I was like, oh my god, I have to get it. So I got it. I'm probably going to use it. It's a nice neutral palette. There's nothing spectacularly special about it, which is the problem that I had with the Mario palette also, because I looked at it and I was like, okay, it's just a palette, you know. There was nothing revolutionary about the colors at all, and it was $45, and I think that's why I did not get it, because I was just like, you're not great. So anyway, got it while I was sick, played with it afterwards. I've worn the other 3 Bad Habit palettes that I got. I got the Aura and the Retro Love, which are dupes for the Subculture and Prism palette, and then I got the Athena palette, which is a dupe for Huda's Dusk Till Dawn palette. All 3 of those performed wonderfully. The shadows did not fade. They were just great. They stayed for hours, and I don't know if it had something to do with the fact that those have more bright shades. Like the shades that are in those palettes are more brightly colored shades, and they're more pigment saturated, so that may have something to do with how well they perform and how long they last, because this palette right here, I got maybe about 4 hours of wear out of them before it started to fade, but it didn't fade off patchy. It just kind of faded down. And remember, I've been sick, so I haven't really been doing anything. I just kind of wore it around the house. So yeah, so let's talk about what's inside of this palette. So you get 12 shades, like I said, and only 3 of the 12 shades are matte shades, which is kind of disappointing. And I don't know how many of the Mario shades were matte shades, but I'm going to assume that it's the same amount because it's a dupe palette. Okay, so the 3 matte shades in this palette are Mona, Aria, and Tuscany. They're all like brown-based warm shades, which is fine, but I would have liked a like maybe a bone shade, for a matte bone for like under brow bone highlighting, because of the way my eyes are shaped. I tend to just put on my transition shade and bring it all the way up, and then when I'm done with everything else, I will go in with like a bone colored shade, and then I will blend out the edges, and it will look like a brow bone highlight because of the way my eyes are shaped. So that's literally the only way that I use a brow bone highlight. When I had finished with the applying the shadows here, I went in, because there isn't a matte bone shade in here, and if I had used Mona, this shade here, it wouldn't have made a difference. It wouldn't have looked blended out. So I tried to go in with one of the other shades, Pearl, this one right here, to kind of blend out the harsh edge of Tuscany, and it's kind of a mess, as you can see. It didn't blend out very well. So yeah, this palette is only 12 bucks. And I guess if you didn't get the Mario palette and you don't really care and you don't mind having that many shimmer and satin shades in a palette, then go for it. But if you're looking for more matte shades, especially more matte transition shades, or, you know, brow bone shades, this is probably not the palette for you. Not saying that it's a bad palette. It's just, of all the Bad Habit palettes that I have, this is number 4, I believe, and I'm going to pick up another one because there's one that dropped the other day. Like, whoo, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, of all the Bad Habit palettes that I have, this is my least favorite and the only one that I absolutely cannot recommend. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I hope I was helpful or instrumental in helping you make a decision on whether or not you wanted to pick up this new Artistry palette from Bad Habit at Shop Hush, which is $12. I do believe that it is still available. Yeah, I hope I was helpful, and I hope I didn't bring you down too much, ruin your excitement for the palette, because I know this one has been making the rounds a little bit too on YouTube. So, sorry if I was a Debbie Downer for this party, but yeah, it's just not my fave, guys. This one, not at all. Alright guys, I will see you in the next one. Bye.